So, what's up, guys? Jason Guyman here, and tonight I want to talk about what happens when you're the cheap guy. I also want to show you some stuff, and I want you to listen to some stuff tonight that what happens when you are not the cheap guy. And I'm going to show you tonight of how you can grow your business. And here's the thing. I had a conversation today that somebody was asking me about pricing, and the first thought of their mouth is, well, you know what? I am from blank and it's cheap. Well, if you believe that, then guess what's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. You have to overcome your mindset. And before I get too far, I want to hit on something here because I am excited. This person that I'm going to talk to you about is young. He's 27 years old. He's been with me for about 4 years now. He comes almost every Monday night Zoom call. And back in the day, he would always be like, "Hey G, what do I need to, how many yard signs do I need to put out this week?" And I would say 75. I'd say 150. And he went and took action. And here's the thing about this cool thing, because this is the story I want you to be able to do. I want you to be able to understand this. He started in pressure washing business. His first year in Christmas lights, he did all right. He didn't push Christmas lights as much. He pushed a lot about pressure washing. And then after that year, I'm like, dude, you need to go more in on Christmas lights. And so he started going more in on Christmas lights. Now, this person lives in an area that when I talk about Christmas lights, I've always heard, well, Jason, you just can't get that in Dallas. And here's a person that has gotten it, that has bought something, that I'm very proud of this individual. He has worked his tail off. He has done a lot. I never forget, he was starting a landscaping business. He started watching my videos. He joined my membership, and he has been killing it ever since. And I never forget one of the times I first got him on my Zoom calls once I found out who he was. And he's like, "Jason, look in this drawer." And he had like 80 grand in his drawer at his house, right? And so this is a person that I'm excited to be a part of his life and be a part of his journey and help him grow his business as he has. And he is taking a lot of action, right? You know, I was talking to one of my other successful people that today on the phone, and I'm like, you know, you guys have gotten to where you are by the great coach you have. And I was kind of making it funny, but in reality, I wasn't, because you know, I can give you guys ideas, I can give you things, but you are the one that's got to go execute this stuff. And these people have been executing it, and that is really cool about this. Now, this is a couple days old. He's actually did this a while ago, but I'm proud of this person. Before I get started tonight, I want to hit on this. So this is Tristan. Tristan just bought this house here for it was like $899,000, 850 to $899,000 in Dallas. And here's the thing, he's 27 years old. He's not married. That helps out a lot, because if you're married, it takes half your money, but that's beside the point. And I'm very proud of him. He has grown his business to be able to buy rental properties. He has about 15, 19 doors of rental properties. And I am excited for Tristan. Tristan is one that, again, he would come to every Monday night Zoom call. He still comes to Monday night Zoom calls. If you're not part of the membership, that's what you're missing out on. People like Tristan that show up, that give value, that help people. And that is what I'm excited to show you about Tristan buying this house. I'm just as excited as he is, because I understand that my goal is to help people change their life, right? He had people in his life that was negative. He had people in his life that said you shouldn't start a pressure washing business. You went to college for finance or business, and why are you starting a pressure washing business? And so this is something that I'm super proud of And I am excited for Tristan and what he has got to be going on in his life. And like I told him, he will be a multimillionaire by the time he's 30 at the rate he's going. And that is the cool thing, that by owning your own business and growing it and taking action are some things that you can do with this business. Again, is there anything special about Tristan? Absolutely not. The special thing about Tristan is he takes action. And when you take action, it doesn't matter what happens. You know, I've been to Dallas a couple times, and I rode around with him and ate lunch with him a couple times. And as he's driving down the road, he's taking phone calls and closing Christmas light jobs at $8, $9 a foot. And that is the place that you can't make money in DFW. It's cheap, right? Which is, if you believe that, then guess what? You will never close $8 a foot jobs. You will never close $10 a foot jobs. And so I wanted to give a highlight out, and I wanted to give a shout out to Tristan for tonight, because when I seen Facebook and I opened that up, it put a smile on my face. And this is the reason why I love doing what I do, right? And as I talk about it tonight, I want you to understand something. The people that you learn from, if they're not excited for your wins and excited about what you're doing, then that's a problem, right? I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Jeremy when he got his new building. I'm excited for Chip that just got his new building this week, right? And so these are all awesome things that I want you to help grow your business. I want you to take action, and I want you to be able to do things with your family. I want you to be able to go to Disney twice in 1 year. I want you to do what you want to do for your family. And here's the thing. I know that as I help these guys and as they keep growing, it is going to be amazing for them, and it can be amazing for you if you take action. So, with that, this weekend has been an amazing weekend. I didn't get much done on the business. Actually, I did. I was working on Facebook a lot yesterday. I was something that we first have never done this before. And my youngest daughter, she was doing IEA horse show, which it reminded me of business. If you ever don't know what IEA horse show is, I'm sure some of you do. It is one that as you get there, you get on a horse that you've never ridden, only 2 minutes. It's not your saddle, it's nothing, and you got to be able to do this. And this is what business is, right? You got to be able to, you don't know what that phone call that you're getting, that curveball you're getting, that crazy horse that she had the smallest pony today, and that sucker was the fastest horse in the ring. It was running around circles, everybody. And sometimes you get those phone calls that you just don't know. So that's what I did this weekend. I'd love to see what some of you all have done your weekend, or I would love to hear some of your wins. What are some of your wins? You know, I've got people closing Christmas light jobs right now. I've got people closing pressure washing jobs. I've got people making more money than they've ever made for pressure washing in this time of year. I've got people closing thousands of dollars of Christmas lights, tens of thousands of dollars of Christmas lights, 60,000 in a week, right? And so these are cool things that I love helping people grow their business in 2025. And so with that, I want to talk about the book of the week. So my book of the week is called No BS Marketing to the Affluent by Dan Kennedy. Now, Dan Kennedy is the godfather of sales letters. Like, he was the first one that has closed $1 million sales letters out of the get-go, and this is going on for years. This was before the internet, before, we're talking in the 90s, in like the early 90s and the 90s. And so this is a brand new book. This book just came out about a month ago. And so this is the book that I've been reading myself, and it's very interesting. And I think you should read this book too if you have not read this book. So again, I want you to read this book, and not only read this book, but take action. He talks about the affluent and the super affluent and the super affluent. And so and a lot of times they just think different, right? And that's what I want you to start thinking different, because I want you to start thinking like these people instead of the people that you may have grown up or been around or whatever you may know, whatever that mindset might be that holds you back in the end. So we got Matt in here. He says, let's go. What's up? How are you doing? Oh, this is super small down here. Let's see if I can make that bigger. There we go. We'll make that bigger. Let's go. So that's all I've got so far come in. But again, I just want you to think about some things. So now that I've got all that, and I know I went on a long time here, but I love Christmas lights. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the people that are cheap. And what I mean cheap, that are at $6 a foot. Like, I had a conversation in one of the guys in the groups, and he said, I've been hanging Christmas lights since the 90s. And all of these installers now are taking up this business, and it's getting to be like mowers. And this is what my first thought was to that. And if I had to guess, you are probably still charging like it's the 90s. I know people that have went, and I was at $7 a foot, $8 a foot in 2018. And I know other installers that have been installing just as long as I have, and they're still charging $5, $6 a foot. But you know what the difference was? I'm going to tell you what the difference is. The difference is that cheap people learn from cheap people. And this is a bad thing. I've got people that are selling lights at $16 a foot, $15 a foot, $10 a foot, $8 a foot. But here's the issue with it. These people are being successful in growing their business because, one, you can afford marketing. Two, you can afford insurance. Three, you can afford good workers, right? And these are all things that we have to start thinking about when we are growing this Christmas light business. Because if we don't believe that we can get $8 a foot, and if you were taught that you should do it, here's the thing, I see it all the time. I can show you video after video, website after website that tells you should do it at $6 a foot. And you know who these videos are? They're suppliers. You know why they want you to do it at $6 a foot? Because they want to make money off of you. You know what? Do I sell Christmas lights? I absolutely do. But I want you to be like Tristan, to be able to buy a $900,000 house. That's what I want. I don't care I want you to buy from me, don't get me wrong, but I want you to be successful. And if you're not successful, then guess what? Why I'm going to get you 1 year and that's all you're going to buy from me? Then that's not what I want. I want you to be successful. I want you growing your business. I want you taking action. I want you to be able to go out there and get this done. Right? And I see Kerry Bozeman on here, right? He went out and sold a $2,700 job. He came to one of my trainings and he sold a $2,700 job. And he's got other jobs lined up that he's possibly going to sell too. And here's the thing, right? As you start growing this business and as you start making money, guess what? Then you can do more marketing. Then you can do this. Here's the thing. I've seen people do this over and over and over. This is usually what happens. They do this Christmas light thing. They can't sell it at $6 a foot, so then they go down to $4 a foot. So they'll go out and install the lights. They don't know how to install the lights because they didn't get trained properly. They didn't get taught how to do it properly. It takes them forever. And so then they don't take the lights down at the end of the year. Oh, wait a minute. And first they buy the lights at Home Depot that they shouldn't be putting on a house anyway because they're doing incandescents. They're overloading the circuits and they're about to burn the house down because they don't know no different. And so then they don't come back at the end of the year and take it down because they haven't made no money and they're not going to make money. And so do you want to be that person or do you want to be someone like Tristan? Do you want to be someone like anybody that I've taught, like Sam Else, right? Sam Else is going to do $1 million this year in Christmas Light. These are people that I've helped grow their business. Why? Because that's what I want to do, and that's what I do. I teach people how to start and grow business. I've been doing it since 2018, and I love doing what I do because I love seeing that result of seeing how Tristan is going to go buy a $900,000 house, how Tristan has 19 doors, and it all started off of just spraying water up a little pressure washing business and doing Christmas lights. And that is freaking amazing, right? You know, I've heard people say, you make more than a doctor. Yeah. And I don't even need to go to 8 years of college, right? I went to mechanic school college. That's what I did. I mean, let's be honest. That's what I did. But you know what? I went to school of hard knocks and learned a whole lot more than you'll ever learn in college because they're not going to teach you the hard knocks in college. And so that's something that you got to think about. So the first thing is what does it cost to run a business, right? What are your costs? $2,000 to $3,000 worth of insurance, time you pay work or time you pay liability insurance, your vehicle insurance, right? You got workers' comp. That could be anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 a year. You got materials, right? Somebody's like, is $1.25 a good price for materials? Well, what are you looking at? You're just looking at the bulb and clip and stringer? Sure. But there's a lot more cost than $1.30 because you got a lot of females, you got males. Oh, wait a minute. I don't put females on the end of the line. I just let it lay right in the gutter so that way it catches on fire. Because you wasn't trained no better and you worrying about 50 cents putting on that end of it. And this is what happens with cheap people. I see it over and over and over. This isn't, I just put electrical tape. Okay, so when water gets in there, guess what? It shorts out. Because that's what happens. Because that's you not knowing what to do and make that happen. Paying good people, right? If you got a good installer, they're going to make 20 to 50 bucks an hour. I want my guys to make 50 bucks an hour. Why? Because they're going to want to make me more money. And I'm going to do it so that, you know what? I'm going to pay 80 cents to $1 a foot for installs. And they can make good money at the end of the day. I'm going to put money in marketing because I know it costs $200 to $250 for every customer that I get. Yeah, you heard that right. It will cost you $200 to $250 for every customer that you get. If you want premium customers, not the cheap customers, right? And this is something that you have to think about for sure. And I agree with you 100%, Roy. How do you sell those customers on value on $8 a foot? Well, here's the thing, and not fixated on the price, is you're not selling the bulb. You're not selling that. You're selling memories. You're selling, man, this house, when you get home that night, it's going to look so beautiful. It's going to look amazing. And you're going to sell that because when you sell bulbs and you sell LED and you peak the bulb and or we make sure our peaks are perfect. Every peak. We don't care if we screw up your roof. Your roof is going to get screwed up. And I've got pictures. I've got 10 pictures to show you a peak bulb screwing up roofs. But by God, that peak bulb is up there and it's going to look amazing. Oh, it's going to look amazing. But is that what's going to make it look amazing? Or is it, do you remember when you were a kid and you went over to Grandma and Grandpa's house and just that feeling and that memory? You still remember you were looking out the car, you were probably in an old car. You was probably, depending on how old they are, you were in a 2000 car or you were in that old muscle car, depending on how old you are. And so, right, that's that memory. Do you want to give your grandkids that memory so when they show up 20 years later and they can remember Grandma and Grandpa's house and that's what the memory, right? That's what I'm selling. I'm not I can sell that at 10, 12, 15 bucks a foot. I can't sell peak bulbs and tearing up your roof for $8 a foot, $10 a foot. It's almost impossible. I see very few people do it. Why? Because it's about selling the memory. It's about selling the feelings. It's about selling on emotion. Did you know 90% of people, and this is a Harvard study, that 90% of people buy on emotion? Why the freak are we selling on 10% of the bulbs? That's my question to people. Why are we selling on the bulbs? Because we know 90% are going to buy on the side of there. So why does cheap price kill business? Well, there's no profit. And profit, we in today's world, sometimes people think that's a bad word. So if you think that's a bad word, go read Profit First. It's a great book. I highly recommend Profit First. Profit First is amazing. Then the next thing is when you go cheap, guess what happens? You use cheap product. You know what happens when cheap product? You got callbacks. Things not working. You know what cost you more than anything? Going back and fixing it, because now you can't do other jobs. Now you got to go fix these other problems, right? You can't good workers. They don't want to show up. Well, no, they don't want to show up. You're paying them 10 bucks an hour. Who wants to show up for 10 bucks an hour? So this is the problem with it. You know, there's no money for marketing. So I do everything word of mouth. Well, guess what? Word of mouth is only going to get you so far, and it's going to get you more cheap customers. I see it over and over and over. And guess what? Cheap customers are the worst customers. They call you back. They bug the crap out of you. They want more for free. Them are the worst customers ever. And if they do refer clients, guess who they're referring? Other cheap clients. And those are not what we want. Also, cheap clients are always going to ask for a discount. I will guarantee you they will ask for a discount. So here's the thing. I see it over and over and over. Don't be afraid to find the emotion and figure out, why do they want Christmas lights? Why are you asking, do you want Christmas lights? And here's another great question. Have you ever had your lights installed by a professional? Yes, I have. Why didn't you call them back? Because you know what you're going to find out? I did, and they didn't answer the phone. Well, guess what? I just got a selling point. I just got value. Hey, you know when you can't answer the phone and they won't call you back, guess what? I'm going to call you back. I'm going to take care of you. I will call you back. I will answer the phone. Not only call you back, I want to answer the phone when it's December 23rd and your lights, something happened and they're not working. I will be here and I'll fix it, right? Because that's what I do. I want you to be, you got to be able to have this great memories for when your grandkid comes over on the 24th. And I will come over that night on the 23rd and fix your light. So that way, when your grandkid gets there, these lights are going to look amazing. Can you just imagine what his face is going to look like? He's going to have such awe, right? These are what we're selling. We are selling emotion, guys. I know you hear me talk about this, and I know people will drive you all crazy about it. But I'm telling you, the people, right? Tristan sells on emotion. Daniel, he doesn't even talk about price in it. You know, it's back to our words that we speak. If all you think about is price, guess what your customer is going to think about? Yep, you got it right. Price. Because no matter what you do, you're gonna say a word, you're gonna speak a word that just spews price, that just spews cheap, that just spews money. You know, I was thinking about this. I had a shower moment the other day, and this is what I was thinking about: the words that you speak, right? The words that come out of our mouth are so important. Do you use house? Your house is going to look amazing. Or do you use your home is going to look beautiful, amazing? Because you might not think that house or home is a big ordeal, but it is a difference, right? A house is just a thing, an object. A home is where the heart is, right? Home is where the heart is. So think about that as you're selling these to these clients. What words are coming out of your mouth? What's the one word out of a conversation that you lost that job? Because sometimes all it takes is one time of us saying a word that is going to end that conversation. And this is a big ordeal. Because if you keep saying that word and you don't think that it's a word that you're saying and you don't figure it out, then you're going to be like, Jason, I tried to close, I got 100 leads and I only closed one. And you know what I'm going to tell you? What words are you talking? What words are you speaking? Are you talking too much? Because I know some of you do talk too much. And sometimes there's a point that we got to ask the questions and let them talk. You got to let them talk because they might be a type S personality, right? And they want to talk and they want to know, like, and trust. And when people know, like, and trust, guess what? They'll buy from you. But if they don't trust you, they will never buy from you. And you know how you build trust? Through your social media, through your website, through your Google reviews, through your Google photos, through your Google post, through your Facebook, through your TikTok, right? Because that's what builds trust. Showing up, talking to them on the phone. These are all things that build trust and help you in the end. So, with that, what questions do you have? What are your thoughts on being cheap? And I was at my last class, I had a guy there and he was talking about the person he learned from. And he was like, I would never sell those lights at that much. That is not somebody I want even in my life at all. I don't care if they sell cheap product. I don't care. I don't want that mentality thought stuck in my brain that this person wouldn't even sell those lights for permanent lights at $40, $50 a foot. Because if that's what he believes, guess what? He's putting a belief on you that you can't overcome. And that's not a good thing. The reason why I keep expanding how much you should charge, I used to say $8 to $10. Now I say 8 to 12. I might even come to $8 to $14. And I might even have to raise my lower level because I want you to be successful. Things have went up in the last 3 years. If you haven't been around, guess what? Everything has went up 3 years. But a lot of you are still charging what you were charging 6 years ago, 5 years ago. And then you wonder why you can't make no money. Well, you can't make no money because you're cheap. And you know what? When you're cheap, yeah, you're going to get clients, but you're not making no profit because it's all going back out the door. So I just want you to think a little bit about that. All right, let me move this down. Whoop, that went wrong. Moving into my new place this week. Let me break this down a little bit. Shoot, I got things going on here. That's awesome. Mr. Nathan. Here's another awesome young kid. Sometimes people think that I'm too young to do something. You're not too young. I promise you, you're not too young, you're not too old. Don't ever think you're too young to start a business. Don't ever think you're too old to start a business. I've got a 16-year-old that's running a business. He's 17 now. I've got guys that's 66 years old that's running a business. KFC started his business when he was 65 years old. So don't think about that you are too young, too old, whatever it is. Cold calls, email, and networking continues. Networking can be an amazing thing of going and meeting people. And sometimes it costs to get in rooms to be in there, but I promise you, if you can get around the right people, you become the 5 people you hang around with. And so if you have a bunch of people that aren't making no money, guess what you are probably not going to do? Make money. And that's the thing that you got to think about. And you got to understand that you got to get around the people that you want to be, that are successful. If you want to become a multimillionaire, you got to hang around people that are doing 10 million, 20 million, 100 million. If you want to become 100 million, you want to do 100 million, you got to find people that are doing 100 million. You got to find people that are the billionaires. because guess what? You're only going to rise to the occasion at that point. And so maybe you don't want to make that much. But here's the thing, you got to get around the people that you want to be like someday. And so that's the important part about this. Do we need to be booking for October, even if it's our first year? I know we set a discount, but already offering 20% off first off, I wouldn't offer 20% discount. I would not offer a 20% discount. I would maybe do a 10% discount if you get it up in October. And here's the thing, I wouldn't start hanging lights. I wouldn't start pushing them till the end of October. Like, you're not going to get that many jobs that you're going to be that far booked out. I would say start booking out the last weekend of October, and if they do it, they get a 10% off. That's what they get, because 20% is too much. You already discount yourself, because then they're like, well, it's not worth it. You don't because, and I know we've talked about this, Carrie, you don't even believe you're worth it. And so don't give that big of a discount off. Why would we want to give that big of a discount off? You got to believe that you're worth that much. You know what? If you want to give a 20% discount, then go at $9 a foot. Then charge $9 a foot and give 20% off. That's what you can do. And that way you're not screwing yourself later on, because you're going to screw yourself next year is where it'll come out at. And so don't undervalue yourself. You are worth way more than that. And the cost is going to, you're not going to make money. You're not able to do marketing. You're not able to run a business at that point, because you're going to find out that there's costs that go along with running the business. And so that's why I'd say don't discount yourself at 20% off. You know, if you want to do 10% off, then if you want to do 20% off, go to $9 a foot. That way you're giving off $1.80 and you're still at $7 a foot at the end of the day. You're not discounting down into the $6. Because at that point you will never be able to believe that you're worth this $8 a foot. To be able to get $8 a foot, you got to believe that you're worth $8 a foot. And this is for anybody. I'm not just saying that to be saying it. I'm saying it, you got to believe it. Because if you don't believe you're the most awesome thing ever out there hanging Christmas lights, your customer is going to see it a mile away. You know, I always tell people, I can get you $1 million worth of work, but can you close $1 million worth of work? That's the question. Because, you know, as I've coached people, right, and they're in year 3, they're learning things now that if I would have coached them back then, they would have never got it. They would have never understood that. How do I how do I get all these job stuff out, right? How do I get all these bids out? How do I get all of that stuff out? How do I get more leads? How do I do this? But now that I've taught them this, right, and 3 years later, now it's, hey, let's get some follow-up systems going. Hey, how are we answering the phone? What are we saying? What words can we tweak? Yes, we can tweak some of that, but sometimes we just don't understand. If we've never hung lights and never seen that all moment come out, then we got to figure that out, and that's something that we got to do. Any tips on city and counties? Had a couple ask for trees and garland on the poles. Tree as big as bring in 40,000 30-foot tree. Also, I've heard the good old boy system of doing things, and some of that is true, right? Some of that is true of the good old boy system, unfortunately, but not always, because some of it is they got to bid it. And some people will come in cheap and they just do it cheap for whatever reason. They do it cheap. So it's one that there is RFPs that you can go look at and see who's bidding and who's not, for the local. And usually if it's over a price, it's going to have to get bidded out, and they're going to go with the cheapest bid. Now, sometimes they're through different ways of doing it. Sometimes it's through the tourism, and they may not have to bid it out depending on how they get their money. And so that's something that you may want to look at. How are they getting it and how are they doing it? I own a tree service around Amarillo, Texas, and just bought some lights. I researched my area and another company sell theirs for $7 a foot. Should I go to $6.50 to get clients to get known? No, you should not. You should go to $8 a foot. Who cares? You know what? Here's the thing. That customer there that's doing it at $7 a foot is about to go out of business. And you want to go cheaper and do it better than the guy at $7 a foot because he don't know his numbers. He don't know how to sell. He doesn't know how to get business. And so why would we cheapen ourselves and go at $6.50 a foot? That's ludicrous. That's my whole point. Because here's the thing. What are you going to do when you find someone doing it at $5 a foot? Are you going to go at $4.50? No. Why? Why are we letting another company dictate my cost? How much does it cost you to run a Christmas light business? How much does it cost for the lights? How much does it cost for the marketing? How much does it cost for insurance? How much does it cost for all of that? You don't even know your cost at that point, but you're going off of what someone else is doing. Why would I even care what they're doing? It's how do I get leads at this point? How do I get more jobs? You get more leads. That's how you get more jobs. More leads you get, more jobs you get. It's the way it works. Sold a job today and quoted it at 800, more than the guy yesterday, all because the magic. Jason has hit the nail on the head. People do not care how much if you deliver the experience they desire. Sold a job today and quoted 800 more than the guy yesterday. So again, this is the next question right after, should I go cheaper? And the answer is, it's not about the cheapness. He made $800 more than the guy yesterday quoted. If it was about the cheap, and I bet you if I had $100, I bet you the guy yesterday was talking all about how the peaks are, and I bet you was talking about how all the bulbs are and how they're LEDs, and we use these clips, and these clips, they hold on to the shingles, and they hold on to the gutters, and we cut them just to the right length. I guarantee you he's talking about that. And when you talk about magic and how amazing this is going to look and the beautiful, and what's this special occasion for all your grandkids coming? Oh, what's your grandkid's name? Oh, Caleb. Oh, man, I just can't wait till Caleb comes over and sees this grandma's house. It's going to look so good. It's going to look magical. It's going to be one of those pictures in a Winter Wonderland book. It's going to be magical. And guess what? You close it at $800 more. So quit worrying about price. That's what drives me crazy, guys. I don't get on here to just, people that take action, that do this and do where I'm talking and learn, and they come in person and they learn some more and they get out of their comfort zone and they learn some more. Guess what? They go back and take action. And you know what? Everybody that I know that has hit 500 or a million, guess what? They've all come to one of my in-person classes, or two, or three of them. Why? Because they keep learning. They keep growing. You know, Jeremy, they go to all kinds of things. They go to, they learn all the time. Why? Because it's growing his business. That's what happens. That's how you grow your business. How do you sell these customers on value on $8 a foot that are not fixated on price? Again, it's about the magic. How are you setting expectations for time for sale to time to install, period? How long does it usually take you to go and sold to service? So it depends. Like right now, we've got time. And here's the thing, you're going to get a lot of no's right now just because it's September. But here's the other thing. You're going to start getting a lot yeses the more closer it gets to the end of November, right? It's just the way it works. I've seen it too many times, right? I've seen it over and over and over. And so this is something that it happens, and as you're growing a business, it happens a lot, right? You're going to get to the point of people are going to tell you no, and because they're not ready for it. They like it, but it's not going to get over yet. And so this is where, as we keep moving, and as we keep doing what we need to do and keep quoting and keep quoting and keep quoting, the jobs will start closing and closing and closing. And so usually, depending on the time of the year, you can, I always want you to get all your installs up before October. I want you to get all of your, I'm sorry, I want to get you to get all of your last year installs up before October 31st. So that way all of November is open for brand new jobs. And if you do it right, you'll stay so busy, you won't build, it'll stay very busy for you. Usually, depending on the size of the house, the size of the ticket, it's going to take you anywhere from 1 to 3 hours to install. So that's kind of where you are with it, at where you're at with it. Got a trick to get HOAs? Yeah, you're a little late on them. So these are what we're going to want to call on and try to find these out in June and July, because that's when they're dealing with their budgets. And so we want to figure out those. Most HOAs are ran by property managers. So like around here, a lot of your bigger HOAs are ran by town properties, a couple other ones. And so they're actually ran by they're not actually ran by the HOA. Like the HOA is the board, but the actual getting stuff done is going to be through a property manager. And so you can cold email market, you can pick up the phone and call, you can, figure out who's doing these places. But a lot of these places have already got them booked. And some of these places do 2 and 3 and 4 year contracts. So you kind of got to sit there and play the game, and you kind of got to figure out who is where and how do you get that. When and where do we watch for the Sam's wreaths? They should be coming probably October. You just check on their website, type in 60-inch wreath and see when it comes up. I almost always the youngest in the room I am in. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of things out there that people will help you because you're young. Right? I know the Chamber of Commerce, they have a thing that if you're under 25 or 30, that you can get a mentor. And I would say go do that, because the mentor you get might be somebody that's worth a couple $1 million that just wants to help young people out. You might not get everybody that lucky, but you may get somebody that is willing to help you out, that's willing to help you grow and teach you and learn. And you never stop learning. I'm still learning. If you ever have someone tell you they know it all, you need to run from them, because there's so much out there. There's so much new stuff coming every day. The way I used to market in 2018 is completely different than the way I tell people to market in 2025, because things are changing, right? AI is changing. Yard signs are changing. In Texas, you're getting new laws, and there's things that just change over time. Social media changes. Everything changes over time. So that's why we have to look at and keep growing it. I just started doing the hybrid selling and leasing the lights. I'm taking your advice this year. Awesome. I love it. I wouldn't do no different. That's not what I wanted. Sorry, man, just tuning in, was working on quotes and designs. The follow-up video worked, had 5 people reply so far. Awesome. And here's the thing. Daniel is closing jobs left and right. He's doing amazing. He's going to hit big numbers, like really big numbers, like bigger numbers than he would even imagine he thought 3 years ago when he was starting out. But here's the thing, right? He's sending me text last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, closing deals, talking to people on Facebook. Like she had sent a quote in, and he sent it out and got it signed last night. He didn't wait till tomorrow, till the day to go do it. He didn't wait till Monday to fill this out. He kept connected. He sent her a message. She replied. They kept talking back and forth. He did the quote right then and there at 1 o'clock in the morning. And guess what? They closed it that night. That's what I'm talking about. There's no easy button, right? There's no easy button. The easy button is get your butt out there and get it done. That's the easy button. It takes hard work, but you know what? He's going to do amazing this year. He's going to double what he did last year, and if not triple. And the only reason why he don't triple is because of him at the end of the day. And so you have to go out there, you have to take action. He's working today. He's worked all day on this thing of getting quotes out. Why? Has he done? Because he's done his due diligence, right? He got his website up. He got his Google business. I told him the first year he needed to go get reviews. And guess what? He went and got 40 some reviews his very first year. He's taking the pictures and putting them on there. He's doing Google business posts. He's doing Facebook ads. He's running Facebook ads. He's doing Facebook groups and putting stuff in groups. And guess what? It works. Did it? But here's the thing: he did not do all of this his first year because it would have been way too much for him. He did a lot his first year. He stayed up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every night and woke up at 6, 7 o'clock the next morning. But that's what got him to $179,000 his very first year, right? With just him and one other person, which is a freaking amazing. And so you got to take action. You got to go out there. You got to do the hard work. It's not always easy. There is no easy button. I'm charging $10 a foot, and discount down is $8. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. Matt Goodman. So far, we have 14 HOAs on the schedule. It's about getting to the right people. I did a lunch and meet and greet, and it snowballed from there. Jason told me to do it, and of course, it worked. But here's the thing. He didn't get them all last year, and that's when he did the meet and greet, right? He did the meet and greet last year in November, I think it was. And I think he might have got 1 or 2, but then it snowballed and worked all for him this year. And that's how this is how this is how the HOAs work, right? We build relationships. You got to go build those relationships. I'm from Canada, first year doing lights. Our currency is about 1.4. I'm going to ask for $12 a foot. Materials around 1.3. Labor for installation and takedown will be $1.75 a foot. I've got people in Canada doing it, so that's awesome. My discount for 20% in September, then I'll stay at the $10 a foot. Thanks for the advice. I messed up and didn't vet a client. Bid him at $2,100, and he told me he had a $500 budget. Well, sometimes those people will buy too, but sometimes they won't. Daniel just sent me one of those today that they doing the same thing. Don't be in this business if you're not making at least 35% net profit in business. Everything else is paid for. Do you have to be a Sam's member in order to order them? We don't have Sam's in Washington. Yes. Hit the like button. And I haven't looked to see if they're up yet or not. I haven't been on there. I don't think they're up yet, but I'm going to go look because I know I've been getting asked a lot about them. So let's see if they're up. They may not be up yet. Let's see, 60 wreaths. See if they're up yet. 48 is, no, they are not up yet. They are not up yet. I'm going to check one other place because I do have another little secret place that I'm going to see if it's up this way. But they're not up yet. So, but they'll come. They always have. I've been doing them since 2014, and the guy that I've taught, he did it before that. So I'm gonna hope they keep coming. Let's see if this is the right website here. If I find the right website, I'll send it to you. Nope, this ain't it either. So they're not out yet. Usually they come in October. Is usually when they come. Nope, 48 inch. That's not it. But they got some of their Christmas stuff out. They just ain't got that out yet. They got nutcrackers, all kinds of stuff. So, um, 849. I do door to door for my exterior washing business. I'm going to start hitting door to door the first week of October. I'll do the same yard signs. My goal is 100 customers for the first year. What's your average ticket? If you got 100 customers at $1,000, that ain't worth a crap. You get 100 customers at $2,000 average ticket, now we're talking, right? I'm not so much worried about the customers. I want to know what your goal is at the end of the year, because I know I see too many people that will do it and they'll be like, "Yeah, we're at $1,000 average ticket." And so you did 100 customers, right? You didn't make a lot of money at the end of the day. You made 100 grand, but you didn't make a lot because you spent a lot. So that's what I would say. And yes, door to door does work for Christmas lights. I know that it works for Christmas lights. I've had several people do it for Christmas lights. It actually works really amazing. I've got a guy that does door to door and he's getting 14, 15, $18 a foot out of this stuff. So if you're good at it, you can definitely go and sell it. I've also got a guy doing it and he's getting $8, $9 a foot out of it. I'm not a fan of the Sams anymore. I really like the HBO Million. They double the cost, but they're much better. Yeah, I don't know if they're worth $600 though. 500, $600. That's the problem with them, because then I'm not able to charge that my first year to get it back. Actually, you can charge $600. I know people that are charging $800 for a 48-inch or 60-inch wreath. They do, and I even got the nicer wreaths, but I like the Sam's wreaths because they got the color on them. They look good during the daytime and at night. They got bows, they got different things, so they don't just look like a big old circle up there. That's what I don't like. I don't like the circle look. This big old green circle up there. So again, guys, I know I've been preaching this and I've been pushing it. And if you're not in my Facebook group, yeah, that is the only problem. If you're not in my Facebook group, I've been given so much value in there. I talk about different things. I give you closed scripts. I've been given all kinds of marketing advice. I've been given just a lot of information, and I know I've given a lot of information. And if you just take action on it, you will grow your business. I promise you, you will grow your business. And this is something that you have to be able to go do. And anybody can hang lights. I had 18, 19-year-olds hanging lights for me, right? There was two 18-year-olds on a truck, 18, 19, and they go hang lights. It's not rocket science to hang lights on these things. The hardest part about this business is, how do we get more business? How do we close more customers? How do we talk on the phone? What are the words you say? Are you answering the phone? On what ring do you answer the phone? What is your goal? Do you answer it on the first ring, or do you wait till it gets to 4 or 5 right before voicemail? Right? And all of these little things makes huge leaps of when people are going to buy from you. And I talk about quit selling the bulb because I've seen it over and over and over. What happens when you sell the bulb? You don't make no money. You're at the $5, $6 a foot, $4 a foot. And this is something that you have to think about and start growing your business. And if you don't, it's going to hurt you in the end. And when you really go after this and you really get this done, it's amazing how this thing can change your life. I showed you Tristan of him having a $900,000 house, right? In an area that people will tell me you can't get $8, $9 a foot for Christmas lights. But yet Tristan's getting it and he's doing $100, $200, $300,000 a year in Christmas lights. Why can't you do it then? Because you're not asking for it. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that there's value in this. You're selling the bulbs. I see it all the time. Oh, hey, we hate the bulb. We do this. We do that. Okay. Do you sell the magic, or are you selling the bulb? And I know I get, somebody was asking me about why do I hit on this so hard? Because this is where people get so tied up in their brain about the bulbs. And they forget about the magic. They forget about the emotion. They forget that 90% of people buy on emotion, but yet they will sell the bulb. They sell the bulb after the 10%. And guess what? Sell it at the 10%. You keep doing that. If you want to be at the $500, $600, $800 average tickets, maybe $1,000 average ticket. Are you offering more than that? Right? These are things that we're going to do. These are things that I want you to do. This is the things that I teach you to do. And if you didn't know, I did add another class, or I'm going to add another class to my in-person training, christmaslights.io/IPT. I've got one in October, and I just added another one in October. I know it's Halloween weekend, but it's not too late. If you can't make the weekend before that, I've also got the one I'm going to put one together. You show up, you show up. The one that weekend is not going to have permanent lights. It's just going to be a 2-day class. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday. And if you want to show up for that to learn, awesome. If not, well, then you wonder why you can't make money. That's why. But here's the thing. I always thought that training, when I owned my business, I went to different trainings. I did it over and over and over. It saved me thousands of dollars because it cost me a lot more when I didn't. Here, I'll give you the instance of it. So Google Ads. I ran my own Google Ads. I learned everything on Google Ads and I started running my own Google Ads. But I didn't realize I spent 1 year, $2,000 by not knowing because I didn't want to go to a class about Google Ads. As soon as I went to Google Ads class, guess what I was like? I know where I lost two, and I went back and I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I lost $2,000 on it. And what it was is I didn't know about negative keywords. I didn't put negative keywords in. I wasn't checking it. And guess what? I was paying for Cincinnati Zoo, the lights there for Cincinnati Zoo, and there was another drive-through light display that they were all clicking on that, and I did not know that I was spending money on it. Right? And so these are all things that you have to think about. I have people that have been installing here and they still learn stuff. Why? I had a guy, the last class, been to 4 other classes, and he's like, Jason, this is the best class I've ever been to. I had a guy back in the spring. He'd been to 3 other classes, and he's like, Jason, this is the best class I've ever been to. I learned more this weekend than I learned any of those other ones. And this is something that you have to think about and keep growing your business. Right? And that's what I love helping you do. So if you want to check it out, christmaslights.io/IPT for in-person training. I love to help you out. Best budget setup for soft washing without a trailer. No, then probably in a truck then is what you need, or a skid. Probably what you need. So I just want you all to, this is going to be an amazing year this year. I know it's going to be an amazing year. I've already seen people crushing it. I know it's going to be awesome. You go out there and get it done. I have a 2-man crew and I will be door knocking and managing the jobs. Is it manageable to do 100 jobs at $1,500 average ticket starting installing in November? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. 100%. 100%. I've had people leave the weekend before the same weekend of my last one and do $100,000 in the month of November, not knowing anything or not doing anything. And so it is definitely possible. Depends on how many doors you're going to knock. It depends on what else you're going to do for marketing. I wouldn't just do door knocking. I'd do yard signs. I would do, Facebook groups. I would do Facebook. I would do your Google business, right? We're doing it all. We got to do it all. We got to go after it. And so I would go get done with it. So other than that, I don't have anything else. I want you all to go be great this week. Go do amazing things. The biggest thing you can do is take action. Because if you don't take action, it ain't going to happen. I promise you. I see it over and over and over. People want to start a business and they're like, I'm going to work on my logo. And 3 weeks later, ask them, how's your business going? I'm working on my logo, Jason. Just get it done. It ain't got to be perfect. I promise you. People will buy from you even if it ain't perfect. You just got to go out there and get it sold and get it done. And when you do that, it's amazing what can happen. Tristan didn't get where he is overnight. it took action, and it was hard. But you know what? Awesome is on the other side of art. You learn all kinds of things when things get hard. And that's where you got to go after it and get it done. So with that, if you need anything, give me a holler. If you want to know when I go live, you can text this number, LITE, LITE, to 855-619-5483. If you've got any questions, you can text this number also, and I will get back with you. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But if you want to text me, you can, and I will answer your questions, whatever questions I can help you with. But other than that, I hope you all have a great week, and go be great this week. And I'll see you all later.